Indeed, no science in this talk so much. It's more about the building research infrastructures and how we are operating ACTRIS as a research infrastructure. Let's see. So ACTRIS is a pan-European research infrastructure. It has the goal to produce high-quality integrated data sets in the field of atmospheric sciences. It provides different kinds of services, including access to instrumented data platforms tailored for scientific and technological usage. And ACTRIS is formed by 6 different components. So we are quite a large atmospheric research infrastructure that brings together different scientific communities in atmospheric sciences. So we have 3 elements that we are studying and measuring: the aerosol, clouds, and trace gases. And we use 2 different methodologies to observe these substances: in situ methodologies and remote sensing. And this gives us like a 6 a bit different components of running the research infrastructure. I want to start with a look in the history. So this is the research infrastructure as it is now. It's built on a long-term cooperation between the European atmospheric scientists since 2000 or even earlier. The work has been done in different projects, EU-funded projects, and then there has been a need clearly seen in the community that we need to move from the project-based funding and operations to a more stable, sustainable operations. And that is then ACTRIS. ACTRIS was accepted to the so-called ESFRI roadmap, so European Research Infrastructure Roadmap, in 2015. And since then, we have been preparing and implementing the operations of ACTRIS as a research infrastructure. These are different projects that ACTRIS is built on, and we are continuously involved and coordinating different projects to support the development. Also, ACTRIS is not built in a vacuum, so we are operating and active in a quite complicated international landscape with the observing networks. I'm not going to go into the details, and many of these networks you know very well, but it's really the need to build ACTRIS as a research infrastructure was also based and recognized in this international and European network for building a better contribution of Europe in these networks. We were established as a legal entity called ACTRIS ERIC in April last year. ERIC stands for European Research Infrastructure Consortium. And it is a big step for us as a research infrastructure because it gives us a legal basis of our work. We are not anymore a network, so we are really an actor who can conclude agreements, contracts, can get involved in different kind of initiatives as its own legal entity. Currently, we have 16 member countries involved. We have 1 permanent observer, Switzerland, which we hope that in the next few years it can come as a full member to ACTRIS ERIC. 2 countries are still in the membership process, Greece and UK, and then we have 3 countries that we call a bit like a bubbling under countries who are developing the ACTRIS nationally and hopefully at some point could join ACTRIS as members or observers. So in this way also, we are quite large research infrastructure in Europe. So what do we do then? The backbone of ACTRIS operations and research are the so-called ACTRIS national facilities. So in the member and observer countries, we have around 80 observatory platforms. We have some in the Svalbard that are part of the network brought by Germany Sweden and Norway. And these are fixed ground-based stations that are delivering long-term high-quality data on these substances that we are studying, aerosol clouds and trace gases, and the two methodologies. The map is a bit complicated because we have facilities that combine at maximum 4 different components of ACTRIS, of these 6 different ones. So so-called super sites, we have several in Europe. Then another important aspect and one of the core tasks in ACTRIS is to host and run and operate exploratory platforms. These are now at the moment 33. And these are mostly atmospheric simulation chambers, large chambers doing experiments on atmospheric composition. There are also laboratory platforms and mobile platforms. And these can perform dedicated experiments and campaigns. And in the simulation chambers, we can simulate different kind of conditions, study the atmospheric chemistry in different kind of conditions, and study the different optical and physical parameters of the substances. So quite versatile research infrastructure. And if we see this as a whole, how we are built, so we are taking care of a set of services and tools for our partners and our national facilities, from harmonized methods, then calibration of the instruments until the access to users in data. So we are formed as 6 topical centers that are taking care of these national facilities, providing calibration services and QA/QC services. And then these national facilities, and then we have the dedicated data center that is curating the data. And here you can see just a list of ACTRIS variables that we are producing in these 6 different fields, so almost 100 variables in the observatory platforms. And we are contributing to several essential climate variables of GICOS. So they are listed there: upper air, water vapor, cloud properties, ozone, ECV precursors, and aerosol properties. And also 15 more recommended measured variables. So what we are providing as services? So of course, as a research infrastructure, it is for scientists, it's for researchers to utilize and build their cutting-edge science based on utilizing the services that ACTRIS produces. It's also for the stakeholders and the communities outside academia. And one of our core services, which is targeted mostly for the national facilities that we have, these stations that are part of the official ACTRIS network, we provide a technical support. So these 6 topical centers that are supporting the national facilities, they produce standard operation procedures that are developed for all ACTRIS techniques, standards for harmonized measurements and data processing protocols, and harmonized retrieval methods for geophysical products. And then they also do the certification of these national facility setups measurements by providing ACTRIS label after a thorough evaluation process. So making available as standardized measurements as possible from different facilities. And these technical support services in some conditions are also offered to other users than our national facilities. The main product that we are producing as an ACTRIS service is the data provision. And we have this data center that is located in Norway, or it's located actually in 5 countries, but it's led by Nilu Norway, by Catherine Lundmure. Most of you probably know her. And all the data that is provided and by ACTRIS is available for free via the ACTRIS data center. And we provide the common measurement and data processing protocols and QA/QC tools for the measurements. Also virtual tools for processing data online. And you see here how the current version of the data center looks like. We are developing at the moment a new interface to access the data. But considering that we have these 6 elements or different communities in ACTRIS, building the single entry point for all the data for ACTRIS has required a lot of work. And it has required a lot of work from different parts of ACTRIS. This is one of the key things that we have been developing to become as a research infrastructure that can provide standardized services to the scientists and other users. So there has been a lot of work done on the standardization of the data and the measurements, harmonization of the measurements, development of QA/QC processes, also software development for the facilities, and a shared vocabulary has been a very important task, so that we are all referring to all variables and methods the same way. This is essential for the data delivery. And here in the right-hand side, you see just a schematic figure, how the situation was 2019. The lighter the color, the less common and shared methodologies and the processing tools are in the data center units. And then in 2022, more greener the color goes, more shared software methodologies we have in ACTRIS, Eric. So we have gone quite far in few years in this process. Then another core service that we are providing to scientists and also private sector is access to the facilities that we have in the network. And this can be physical access to the national facilities or our central laboratories, remote access or hybrid access. And we have been focusing on developing these access support and the systems in last years a lot. So access can be, for example, for instrument testing in different environments or weather conditions, performing regular or exceptional field experiment campaigns, or deployment side-by-side instrumentation with regular ACTRIS instruments and so forth. So there are very many different ways to utilize the access to the facilities. So currently we are providing access to the facilities via the transnational access programs funded by the EU. But we are all the time developing a plan and financial plan for supporting the access for the researchers to the facilities that would be more than the TNA programs provided by the EU, because these are always limited in number and in time as well. And the selection to these facilities are via the competitive selection process. And we have currently so-called ATMO Access project going on, which has open TNA opportunities for scientists, not only in the physics, but also, or atmospheric sciences, but also in other fields of science. At the moment open, closing soon, the 6th call for transnational access. And then we have a dedicated access program for private sector users as well, which is an open ended call during the project. So to efficiently support the users, the scientists, researchers, technicians, and people outside academia to access and have information and knowledge about these services that ACTRIS is providing at our facilities, we have developed a quite comprehensive services and support system, where you can find in our website a catalog of services. Already you can go and see that what kind of services and possibilities our facilities are providing, and also a really efficient platform, ACTRIS Pass, so-called, for the users to access the information and also apply for the access to these facilities. And here on the right-hand side, you see some numbers of our service and access management unit in the head office that we have had in 2 years' time 10 transnational access calls managed, and we have had more than 300 access applications for our facilities. More than 200 accepted and 600 users have utilized these our opportunities in the national facilities. And these are mostly scientists and students that are utilizing this. Then also we have a task in ACTRIS to support the innovation in our community and in our facilities. And our role is there to facilitate identifying new technologies and services and foster the collaboration between our institutions and scientists, and offering opportunities through the access program that I just explained. And support the co-creation between the SMEs and ACTRIS RPOs. We have had this kind of a survey made in our community about the innovation and the cooperation with the private sector. So there is a lot of cooperation going on between the providers, especially for the instrument providers and our community. So we have had more than 20 associated partners that have accessed facilities and calibration centers in cooperation with our researchers. And there you can see just a few examples of our collaborative work with the private sector. And then we offer also training and expertise services. And this is part of the training of the students and scientists. We want to attract users from outside the immediate ACTRIS network for participating in the training and gaining expertise in our field. So we have organized over 30 training courses in 2 years, 3 years time, in person, but virtual also, of course, especially during the COVID times. And we aim to provide more comprehensive training curricula for the technical, scientific, and managerial training in future. So to manage this, we have 17 countries involved now officially in ACTRIS. We have more than 100 research performing organizations contributing to the work, and 150 people involved in our calibration centers, topical centers, data center activities. So we are a large community, and we needed to put a lot of effort on the management and the governance, of course, of the whole system. And I'm not going to go into the detail in these graphs, but this is the graph of our managerial structure. So all our topical centers and central data center, they are coordinated by a management board, which is under the Director General. And the national consortia in each country are the ones who are coordinating the activities and engaging the people in each country to ACTRIS activities. And then, of course, we have the national facilities in each country, which are the most important part. The governance is led by the General Assembly, because we are a legal entity, ACTRIS ERIC. We have a General Assembly that is composed by the countries, member countries, and that is the most highest decision body in ERIC. And this also brings some limitations to our operations, because it's very strictly coordinated or regulated by the General Assembly and our statutory documentation. But what is important here is that we have done a lot of work to build these managerial bodies for efficient operation and for the information flow in this very distributed and many hierarchical level in the organizations, and also that we have noticed that the engagement of the community in all levels is extremely important. So in the management, structure, we have, for example, the so-called National Facility Technical and Scientific Forum, which is open for all our scientists, researchers, technicians in the national facilities and in the community to foster the scientific and technological discussions and also to bring new ideas and bring feedback to the coordination and to ACTRIS ERIC, so that we are all the time connected to the scientific community. Then something about our financial model. So as ACTRIS ERIC, we are funded by the member observer countries. We have membership contributions that are decided every year, and these are always in-cash contributions to support our activities and operations in different parts of ACTRIS. But the largest part of our contributions are so-called host contributions. The countries are directly supporting the central facilities and our national facilities and stations in the countries. And this is funding that stays in the country. Most often, country has a dedicated decision on funding ACTRIS activities in their country, so specific funding to operate and build these structures for ACTRIS. And then, of course, EU project funding is supporting the development of ACTRIS as a research infrastructure. But here you see some figures about the investment that the countries have made. So these are estimations because the countries are fully independent in the implementation on the activities in their countries. But it has been estimated that for the total investment, more than 700 million euros has been invested by the countries. And most of the funds have gone to the implementation phase. ACTRIS is now in the implementation phase, building all the facilities and the laboratories, finalizing this process. And then when we are in the operational phase fully, which is now planned in 2026, the operational budget will be something around 100 million euros per year. But most of this funding goes to the national facilities in the countries. It's not going to the overall coordination or leadership of the ACTRIS as a research infrastructure. The coordinating office, ACTRIS ERIC, which is coordinating all the activities, where I am located, the budget is approximately the core budget, 1.5 million euros. So it's in a way small investment for coordinating the large research infrastructure. And then there's the second level where we have the topical centers for calibration and services, data center, which are operated by more than 30 research performing organizations. It's more than 50 million euros a year. And most of this stays in the country. It's local national investment, and part of the funding comes from the membership contributions that the countries have agreed to pay. And then you see that the most of the funding goes to the national facilities to support the sustainability and the long-term operations of these facilities that have been many times run on a project-based funding until now. Just a last slide, I want to advertise our science conference. It's in May this spring in Rennes, France. The abstract submission is closed. It was closed by the end of the year last year. And the registration opens early February, so in 2 weeks' time or so. We have 5 different scientific themes, and we are expecting more than 300 people joining in-person meeting. This is our first in-person science conference, so everybody, you're welcome to join the science conference. So this was from me. Thank you for listening.